Hey, y'all, and welcome back to another episode of the Cult Cinema Circle podcast. My name is Jesse, and I'll be your host. Now, on today's episode, we're going to go over what I watched in the month of February of 2024. So, hope y'all had a nice February. Of course, Black History Month. It's always really fun time to be able to learn a little something about, a different culture than maybe your own. I know I did pretty much a deep dive into black horror, and you'll notice that throughout the month. I was watching a lot of horror films that are either created by black folks or who star black folks and all that fun stuff. But I did fit some other things in as well. So without further ado, let's get started. So to start off the month, I decided to start with a movie from 1972 called Blackula. Now, if you don't know what Blackula is, even just from the title, I guess, pretty much what happens is an 18th century African prince, Mamuwalde, is turned into a vampire by Dracula while visiting Transylvania, and 2 centuries later, he rises from his coffin, attacking various residents of Los Angeles, and he meets Tina, a woman who he believes is the reincarnation of his deceased wife. So that is like the baseline of it. For me, at least, I really liked this movie. I gave it a 4 and a little heart. I said the gays at the beginning of this movie are just chef's kiss. There are some queer characters here, a white guy and a black guy. They're a gay couple pretty much, and they, unfortunately, spoilers, they get killed by Blackula. But I just like how flamboyant and bitchy they were, you know what I mean? So I was kind of into that. I also said this music is fire, because the music was really fire in this movie. It was really good. And overall, I really enjoyed myself with this film, and I think it was a super fantastic take on the vampire genre, and it's easily a fave now that I've seen it. I absolutely believe. I wrote it, obviously, but no, the Blackula actually is a pretty decent movie. I didn't watch the sequel, Scream Blackula Scream, but I'll get around to it, I'm sure. But no, that has Pam Grier in it, actually, funny enough, but and Richard Lawson. But I really enjoyed myself with this. I think William Marshall, who plays Blackula, is really good. And just everyone in here was really cool. I really liked it. So yeah, check out Blackula if you haven't already. Then the next movie I watched was a classic, Tales from the Hood from 1995. I gave this a 4 and a little heart. If you don't know what Tales from the Hood is, pretty much it's about this strange funeral director who tells these 4 strange tales of horror with an African-American focus to 3 drug dealers he traps in his place of business. Pretty much. This is directed by Rusty Cundiff, who also is in the movie. I mean, personally, for me, this is one of the best horror anthologies out there, bar none. I watched this when I was a younger teen, and it has just, stuck with me through the years. And if you're at all a fan of horror or anything like that, I mean, just do yourself a favor and just check this out. I really, it does come on the streaming services every so often. I'm trying to remember where I watched it. I think I saw it on, where was that? Might have been on Amazon or something, or maybe it was on, I don't think it comes on Tubi, but maybe it was, actually. It comes on there every so often, too. But I really just like this movie. The first story is about, this police brutality thing that goes on, and a new kind of, not sheriff, but a new police officer is kind of, he is really affected by something that happens, and there's some zombie shit in there. The second story is about a teacher and a little boy. The little boy is experiencing some shit at home, and then the teacher has to kind of get involved a little bit with what's going on exactly. That has Paula J. Parker in it and David Alan Grier actually in it. The next story after that is about this racist ass politician who's trying to run for government or whatever, and people are pissed at him, and he has taken up residence in this old house that was actually owned by this black woman, and some shit goes on with like some little puppets or something that happens. And then the last story is about a guy who is like a gangster, quote unquote, and some shit goes on with him. He gets put in prison, and then he tries to get reformed in a way. It's really interesting. Clarence William III, who has unfortunately since passed away, he's the dad from Purple Rain, but it's just such a good movie. I could go on and on about it, but yes, please watch Tales from the Hood if you haven't already. It's an excellent movie, and it stands the test of time for me, at least. Maybe for some people it doesn't, but it does for me. I really like this movie a lot. Then I did watch Leprechaun in the Hood the next day, and I will say, I don't think I watched a horror movie every day of this month because I don't know, I was tired at some point. But I did watch Leprechaun in the Hood. This is my first foray into the world of Leprechaun, actually. And I can appreciate that this movie knows that it's a low-budget film because it very well does. It's not painfully bad to watch or anything. It might be like a fun watch under the influence, maybe, but personally for me, I gave it like a 2. I didn't love this movie necessarily. Pretty much it's about these 3 friends, Butch, Postmaster P, and Stray Bullet. They loot a local hip-hop mogul's studio, played by, I believe, Ice-T. Yes. And to fund their little demo album that they have, the threesome unwittingly end up with the secret of Mac Daddy's success, which is a magical flute, and their gigs instantly turn golden. But a bloodthirsty leprechaun and an angry Mac Daddy, who's Ice-T, are hot on their trail, leaving a wake of destruction tainted by politically incorrect limericks. Yeah, I don't know. I don't love this movie. I'm also not like the person who's watched all the Leprechaun movies. Like, I tried to watch Leprechaun Back to the Hood, and I don't think I actually finished it. I literally went days and days without having finished it, and I didn't feel like finishing it. Because they were on Tubi. I was able to find them on Tubi, so I was like, okay. But, I didn't really care for Leprechaun in the Hood, personally, but, I watched it at least. It's more I could say for the sequel after that. But, yeah. And then the same day, I guess, I also watched, I may have watched it before. This is a rewatch for me, actually. But for some reason, I don't have it as a rewatch in Letterboxd. I don't know why. But anyway, was Horror Noir from 2019. If you don't know what Horror Noir is, it's a documentary film. I personally think it's a very well done documentary film. And pretty much what it does is it delves into horror genre films that are, the experience of Black people within that genre of film and all the things that go along with that. And throughout the documentary, you have all different Black creators and also like Black actors and academics and all this. I really love this fucking documentary. It's so good. It's on Shudder. So, if you have AMC Plus or a Shudder account, please watch it if you haven't already done so. There is also an anthology movie by the same name of Horror Noir. It's actually on Shudder as well. I didn't get a chance to watch that this month, but I'm going to watch it. I do want to. It's on my list now, so I want to get around to it for sure. But please watch Horror Noir. It gives you a good amount of like recommendations, but it talks about just like, it just is really interesting, and it talks about just all the, just even Black history in general, but also like how it kind of interweaves into the horror genre. And I don't know, it's really good, and there's some good faces in it. Like, there's some good actors who I just really like, and I love hearing their experience. Like, Miguel A. Nunez is in there, Kelly Jo Minter's there, it's Loretta Devine's there. It's so fun. But yeah, so then I watched a little movie from 2002 that's in the Interview with the Vampire universe called Queen of the Damned. Very maligned, if anything, but it's, it's about Lestat, who's Stuart Townsend in this movie. He's awake from his slumber, and he turns into a rock god, pretty much, like a rock star. And then another vampire in the meantime has also arisen, Akasha, played by Aaliyah. And so Lestat wants like immortal fame. His fellow vampires want him like dead. And then the queen wants him for her king. And who will be the one to reach him first? And who will win? Also, Marguerite Moreau is in this movie from Mighty Ducks, and she plays like a researcher at like a university or like a paranormal institute who is like also interested in these vampires and looking down, trying to not looking down at them, but like trying to investigate them more, I guess. But yeah, no, this movie, I give it a 3 and a little heart. It's not the greatest movie on paper, really. I missed when it was streaming, so I was streaming it some other way, but I was able to watch it. But I couldn't help but enjoy like the early 2000s like vibes and looks, you know what I mean? Also, Aaliyah is the bad bitch, and there's no notes for her in that. I mean, I don't care if the CGI is really bad in this movie. I don't give a fuck. Like, she was a baddie, like, and period. Doesn't matter. Like, it's awesome. So like, I don't know. It's not the best movie in the world. However, I kind of liked it for what it is, to be honest. But yeah, that's just me. The next movie I watched, though, was from Hulu, 2018. It's called Puka. I had heard of this kind of from Girl That's Scary a little bit, because they did episodes on this and the little sequel it has. Puka, for those who don't know, it's within the Into the Dark series, I believe, which is on Hulu. So this guy who's a struggling actor, he gets a seasonal job as a little Christmas character in a plush suit to promote like the hottest toy of the year, Puka. So he slowly develops 2 personalities, one when he is in the suit and one when he is not. I've heard of this film, as I said already, and I decided to pull up on it. It's a competently made movie to me. The acting was fine, at least from the Nyasha Hatendi, who plays Wilson, the main character. He was good. And everyone in it is like not a bad actor by any real means, but it just wasn't anything to write home about. I don't think I would personally rewatch it. Because how long is it? It's like 90 minutes. So I don't think it overstays its welcome, but it's also like, I didn't love it. I gave it a 2.5. Like, I think it's worth a watch at least, but like, I'm not going to like probably rewatch it. And I don't even know if I'm going to watch the little Puka Lives thing. So that's my opinion, but there's that. Then the next movie I watched after this was It Comes at Night, which is A24. This movie is about, secure within a desolate home, as an unnatural threat terrorizes the world, a man has established a tenuous domestic order with his wife and son, but this will soon be put to the test when a desperate young family arrives seeking refuge. So, I mean, this movie has, like, a pretty tense, like, atmosphere, and I could dig, like, the apocalyptic vibes of the movie, because you never really know what's actually going on, and you never really know what's wrong with the rest of the world. I just wish we had had more of a scope of what was going on in the world, though. It would be kind of nice to have that, but that's just me. Riley Keough, who's in this movie, who was also in The Lodge, I think the year after this, is fantastic in the near the end of this movie. To me, she knows how to scream. God damn it! So like, yeah, and of course she's had her thing with like Daisy Jones, I think, and like, of course The Lodge, and like, I don't know. I think Riley Keough is actually not a terrible actress or anything like that, and this is one of her actually kind of early roles for her, so that's kind of cool. But it was fine. I gave it a 3. I mean, I wasn't blown away by it by any means. And there are some people who criticize it more, but I didn't mind it. It was perfectly all right. The next movie after this, though, I actually really kind of banged with, and it's a Wes Craven movie. This is The People Under the Stairs from 1991. For those who know what People Under the Stairs is about, pretty much this little boy named Fool, Poindexter Williams, but he goes by Fool. He breaks into a creepy house in a neighboring neighborhood. and it's the family of his like greedy and uncaring landlords. He uncovers like a really disturbing scenario underneath the stairs. And so I was tangentially aware of this film as like a younger kid, or a teen, but I was never actually able to watch it all the way through just because I wasn't all that interested, I guess, or like whatever it was. But I decided to rent this because it was not streaming. It was actually streaming on Peacock a couple months ago, but I didn't watch it. So I decided to actually rent it on Apple TV. And I really enjoyed myself. This has like a really tense atmosphere in some places. It also has like a campy sensibility as well in some parts. Like there's a good amount of blood. The effects for the titular people under the stairs is actually pretty good. And the acting is also really good. And it's also really great. I think everyone in the movie, like, you know, everything from Kelly Jo Minter to like Ving Rhames to AJ Langer and like all these different people, I think do a really good job. I would welcome the remake that Jordan Peele, I think, is supposed to be working on, because why not? This movie is very, again, it's very it's in your face about like what it's trying to say, of course, very much about gentrification and capitalism and all this kind of stuff, but I really enjoyed it. And it's funny, my sister actually, hey Sarah, I posted that I was watching it, and she like messaged me. She was like, oh hell no, because she has seen this movie before and it freaked her out. So I was like, okay, perfect. So yeah, well, that was the thing I watched. The next movie I watched after this was Attack the Block, which is from 2011. This is about a teen gang in a grim southern London like housing estate. They have to team up with the other residents of this estate to protect their neighborhood from an alien invasion. This has John Boyega in it in an early role for him. Also Jodie Whittaker, who is the first female doctor. Nick Frost from the, you know, Simon Pegg movies. He's in there and all that. So this is a ride. I ultimately enjoyed myself with this. I really liked it. I gave it a 3.5. I would definitely give it a watch. I think John Boyega is such a good actor in this, and he's going to come up in another movie later that I also really liked. But yeah, definitely give it a try. And Attack the Block was really, really good personally. And then the next movie I watched after this was from 2000. It was on Tubi. It's called Killjoy from 2000, like I said. Deep in inner city hell, a ghastly figure is killing off the bad guys, a vigilante or a demon. For the beautiful high school student Jada, that's the question that will bring her face to face with the killer clown Killjoy. Look, listen, this wasn't for me. And, you know, I say in my little review in Letterboxd, I say, if you like trash, then have fun. And you know what? I like lurid trash. I like trash, but I didn't like this. I've been told that these sequels are actually lurid trash, so I might pull up on those. I think Nathan from I Hope You Suffer. Hey, Nathan. I was told that, I think this is not a great movie, but like the other movies are, you know, actually a little more interesting maybe. So that's cool, but this is not for me. I just didn't like it personally, but you know, hey, this guy made a movie and I didn't. So, I mean, shit, but I just wasn't a fan. And then outside of kind of my dive into black horror, if anything, I decided to watch a little movie because I already kind of had Paramount Plus, but I have the app on my TV now, so I'm like, okay, cool, so I can watch all the Paramount Plus movies and like the Showtime movies and everything. So both movies from Grindhouse are on Paramount Plus, so I decided to watch Death Proof from 2007. So this movie is, like I said, a part of the Grindhouse movies. So that is Planet Terror and then this film. So Austin's hottest DJ, Jungle Julia, sets out into the night to unwind with her two friends, Shanna and Arlene. Covertly tracking their moves is stuntman Mike, a scarred rebel, leering from behind the wheel of his muscle car, revving just feet away. So that's like burying the lead, obviously. I'm not going to go too deep into this movie. I personally really liked it. I gave it a 4 and a heart. Yeah, I mean, I said that the second half of this movie was a good time. So like the part where Jungle Julia and her friends are driving around, like that was cool and all, but like I think I way more enjoyed myself when it was I do not remember all their names. Oh my gosh. It's Zoe Abernathy and Kim. And who else is there? Oh, and Lee. Yeah, those ladies. I liked them. I liked their story a lot. It was fun. And yeah, this movie's fucking wild. And Kurt Russell's in it. Like, he plays Stuntman Mike. Good old Rose McGowan's in there. Love that. But yeah, this movie was a little boring to me at the beginning, but like I was just kind of like, okay, what the fuck? But once it was with the other chicks, like on the second half of this, like, I kind of actually really enjoyed myself with it. So I was down for that. But yeah, I'm going to get around to Planet Terror. It's on the list. So I'm going to watch it. Don't worry. It's going to happen. I know it has Marley Shelton in it. And also she's in this Death Proof movie, but only in a little part. But it's a way bigger thing from what I understand in Planet Terror. And apparently Planet Terror is more about zombies and stuff like that. So I'll get into all that. Anyway. Then I decided to watch a little movie from 2004 called Vamps with a Z. Don't forget it. So I may or may not have listened to the last like 35 minutes of this while I was at my job and not actually watching it. Kind of. You know, this is also a movie that has a different name as well, if I'm not mistaken. I don't remember what the name of it. Is it Sisters in Blood or something like that? I don't remember exactly. But this movie goes by a different name as well. But it's pretty much about these female vampires who like open like an all-night massage parlor so that they can have people come in and they can feed and stuff like that. Yeah, I mean, this, I don't know. I just didn't really like to care about this movie. At some point, I just was, I don't know. It's if anything, like, it's cool to see these like female vampires who are these black ladies. That's cool and all, and I liked that. But yeah, I mean, just the execution of all of this was like obviously fairly low budget, and which is fine, but I just didn't really like it that much. You know, so that's just my opinion. But yeah, so Vamps, that's what I watched, and you know, you can check it out on Tubi if you want to, if you really, really want to. But then I watched Vamp from 1986, which has Grace Jones in it. And this movie, so it's about these two fraternity pledges, one played by Robert Russler from Freddy's Revenge, and then also Chris Makepeace as well. Like I said, Grace Jones is in this movie. Michelle Pfeiffer's sister is in this movie, Dee Dee Pfeiffer. Gete Watanabe is also in here, which is cool. And then also Billy Drago is in here as well. But this movie, yeah, and then pretty much they go to like, these guys go to a strip club. It ends up being like a vampire run strip club kind of thing. It was on Shudder, part of Joe Bob Briggs' Last Dragon. So I was watching that, which was cool. I just said, yes, the beautiful city of Los Angeles, Kansas. Because I don't even fucking know where this movie is set. I forget. I thought it was supposed to be set in Kansas, maybe, but like maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. But obviously it's very LA, but they don't say it's LA, obviously, because they don't want it to say that it's LA. But whatever, it just looks like it. So I was just like, okay. But I gave it a 3. I think it was worth I had it on my Tubi list forever, and then it was on Shudder, so I was like, oh, okay. And I had actually watched some of it already, but I had just, I don't know, got bored and turned it off. So this movie is fun. Like, it's totally all right. Like, it's not a bad film or anything by any means, but it's definitely not that like dynamic or engaging really, except for like the visuals, of course. But you know, it was cool. It was fine. The next movie I watched after this was from last year. It was The Angry Black Girl and Her Monster. This movie, it is a Frankenstein story, as you may have guessed. So our main character, Vicaria, I believe her name is. She's a brilliant teenager who believes that death is a disease that can be cured. And after the brutal and sudden murder of her brother, she embarks on a dangerous journey to bring him back to life. So I didn't hate this movie or anything. I think it looks really good, and it's actually done by Bomani J. Story, who I think they were actually on the Scarred for Life podcast, if I'm not mistaken. So go check out their episode. I think I might have listened to it actually, but yeah, this is like a first directorial effort for this person. But yeah, I think it looks great. I think it is a fairly unique like take on the tale of Frankenstein. It just didn't have the creature in it as much as I maybe would have liked. But it's worth a watch. I think if you have a Shudder account, it is perfectly worth a watch. And it is very much like a, you know, it's very much that kind of like you feel like you are in this environment, which is like, quote, the hood, if you will. But like, I don't know. I didn't hate it. I didn't like overly love it or anything, but I thought it was fine for what it is. And of course, just from a first, you know, film standpoint, I think he did a pretty decent job, which can't be mad at him for that, right? Also, fun little fact too, for those who do not know, Leia Delone Hayes, who plays Vicaria, she actually is she is the I think 3rd, 4th, and 5th season voice of Doc McStuffins from like Playhouse Disney. So I think that's kind of fun. But yeah, so but she's also like she's like a young lady. She's like 20 or something. She's a young girl. So I think she's immensely talented. And so I like to see what else she does too. Then after that, I watched a little movie from it's on Disney Plus. It's from 1986. It is called Mr. Boogedy. So this is a now, okay, so as you have already noted, I've been watching like black horror movies because of Black History Month, which is fine. Now this movie is about a bunch of white people who are just like running around a house getting scared, I guess. That's pretty much it. So this guy who owns a novelty store, who is played by Richard Mazer, his and also like literally Christy Swanson's in it. The little brother from Married with Children, David Faustino's in it, and also John Astin's there, which is really fun. Anyway, but they move into this new house, and then they find out that it's haunted by this thing called Mr. Boogedy. The reason I had this on my list for black horror, quote unquote, was that it was actually directed by a black man, Osmond Scott. And he did a lot of like the Jeffersons. He directed a lot of those episodes. And it's kind of cool to see that, you know, in 1986 or 5, I guess, when they probably made it, yeah, this was made by a black director. So I think that's really interesting. And there was also a little sequel as well, The Bride of Boogedy or something like that. But yeah, I gave it a 1.5. I don't think it's worth that much of a watch, to be honest. But I mean, for some people, it is very much like this kind of thing that they really enjoy, or they have a nostalgia for it. Listen, I have the Haunted Mask from 1995 or whatever. Some people have Mr. Boogedy from 1986 or whatever. So, but yeah. Then I watched a little movie from 1974 called Abby from, like I said, 1974. This is a blaxploitation film. It is about a minister's wife who is possessed by the god of sexuality, Ishu. An exorcist is then called in to drive the evil spirit away. William Marshall, who plays Blackula, is the exorcist, I guess. And Carol Speed is Abby herself. I think this movie was fucking great. I gave it 3 and a little heart. It was awesome. Like, it's a demonic possession movie. I think it's a really unique story. The performances aren't really all that bad, really. And also it's a fairly compelling story. Obviously, the execution of like the cinematography was not exactly the best. However, I'm willing to overlook that. And I really enjoyed it. Like, Abby is like wildin' and like, it's just like really cool to see. And I just think it's like, I thought it was done pretty well, and it's also pretty easy to find, which is nice too. But yeah, I mean, I would love to have seen this. I would love to see this in like a restored form or something like that. Because I think Abby is that girl. It is a good little movie, and the fact that this movie got kind of buried or because of The Exorcist and all this. And the thing is, and I've heard this before, but I completely agree that like this and The Exorcist are 2 different things. And the fact that, this movie kind of got buried by The Exorcist or whatever, or any sort of legal action was threatened about whatever. I just think that's so stupid, because this movie is not The Exorcist at all. The Exorcist is about a little girl who gets possessed and all this. This is about a minister's wife who gets possessed, and she was just minding her business. I guess both of them were minding her own business, but really, honestly, Reagan was playing with that little Ouija board, so Miss Abby over here was not playing with the Ouija board, but whatever. Anyway, but that's just what I think about that. But, Abby is that girl. Go watch it. Then, the same day, I watched a little movie from 1999 called Ravenous. I watched this before. But Ravenous, for those who don't know, is about this guy, John Boyd, Captain John Boyd. He is like a war coward, and he gets sent to this fort in the middle of like fucking 1840s like California, which is like it sucks. And this guy comes along, Calhoun, and pretty much some cannibalistic hijinks happen from there. I'm covering this in the show actually next month. I already recorded the episode. I just have to edit it with a wonderful guest I brought on. But yeah, I love Ravenous. I gave it a 4 and a little heart. I may have talked about it already. This is a rewatch for me, but this movie is so gay, and also just like it's cool to see like Guy Pearce and Robert Carlyle. Ooh, y'all, I got my little Trainspotting 4K like Blu-ray thing coming from Criterion. Ooh, it's coming tomorrow or something. I'm so excited. I was able to get it on the flash sale for Criterion, so I'm excited to be able to watch that, in all its glory. But yeah, speaking of Robert Carlyle, but yeah, no, I really like Ravenous. It is on Disney Plus in the UK, I think. It was on Criterion Channel for a minute, but I dig it. So, if you've never heard of Ravenous and maybe you're into like cannibal stuff, take a peek at it. I think it's worth a watch for sure. Then the next day, I watched Sugar Hill from 1974. This movie is about Sugar Hill, I guess. Her boyfriend is murdered, And what ends up happening is that she calls upon this like voodoo queen. She gets pretty much help by zombies to kill these fucking white men who killed her boyfriend, pretty much. And I really liked Sugar Hill. Personally, I gave it a 3.5 and a little heart. The jumpsuit that Sugar wears is just so iconic. It's amazing. But also, like, this is such a unique story. Like, same thing with Abby. Like, I just feel like Sugar Hill, and also Abby as well, but like Sugar Hill, I just think was so fucking good. Like, like it's just a unique tale of the zombie, you know, kind of subgenre, but it's also a tale of revenge. There's just a lot going for it, and I am so fascinated. I feel like they made a remake of this, and I don't know if I'd want to watch the remake because this gives me all the vibes I need. And yeah, no, Sugar Hill is so awesome. It was on Amazon, so please pull up on it if you're at all interested in like zombies or any of that kind of stuff. I definitely would give it a watch. I thought it was fairly well done. So absolutely, loved Sugar Hill. And in the same kind of vein, not the same really, but you know, similar path. The next day I watched Bones from 2001. This is a rewatch for me. I said, even though the ending is just a little bit odd, which if you know a little bit of how the movie ends, this movie still rips. I love this movie. It's Ernest R. Dickerson, our boy from Demon Knight, our boy who, you know, came out of Spike Lee's camp, you know. He's in horror noir actually as well. So yeah, Jimmy Bones is coming back from the dead to avenge the people who fucking killed him and restore his neighborhood. This movie is like, I don't give a fuck what anybody says like about it, like whether they hate it or not. I personally really dig it. Like, it's just a really fun movie. Like, it's like not really all that bad to me. I really not perfect by any means, I guess, but like I think for what this was, like, it absolutely, like, to be honest with you, like, it's kind of a little bit better than Valentine, you know what I mean? Like, that's saying something because you already know how much, you know, I have an affinity for that little movie, right? But like, you know, Bones is also a really good little horror movie. I don't think it maybe was marketed the best, perhaps, or whatever it was. And I think Ernest Dickerson has also kind of said his piece about how that movie was handled. But like, you know, and you can only say that so much until it kind of feels like it's just like something, whatever. But like, I just really like Bones, point blank period. I'm going to cover it on the show at some point because, God damn it, I just like it a lot. And it would have been cool if the movie had maybe done better or whatever, that it would have been nice to see, you know, more within that, but it is what it is. The next day after this, I also watched Perpetrator from 2023. This movie is by Jennifer Reeder, and it's about Johnny Baptiste is in this movie. That's her name. And she is a reckless teen who is sent to live with her Aunt Hildy, played by Alicia Silverstone. And on the event of her 18th birthday, she experiences a radical metamorphosis, a family spell that redefines her called Forevering. And when several teen girls go missing at their new school, a mythically feral Johnny goes after the perpetrator. So I didn't think I would like this really, because I was getting kind of middling reviews on like things with Letterboxd, or like even just like the little skull ratings or whatever. So I was kind of like, I don't know if I'm going to like this really, but I went into it. But I didn't think it was all that bad of a movie. You know, Jennifer Reeder has directed a few little things here and there, you know, and it's cool that she's gotten this opportunity to make this movie. It's really trippy. It's very surreal. It maybe isn't for everybody, but overall, I didn't mind it at all. Like, I actually kind of, yeah, I think it's at least worth a one-time watch. If you don't like it, then that's fine, but I think it's like a really interesting story. And it's really just fucking weird. This is for the weirdos, y'all. Okay, this is for the people who like it a little weird, who like a little surreal stuff in that. That's who this is for, probably, most likely. There's some sapphic stuff in here, a little lesbians, and all this. So I mean, I would give it a watch at least. It wasn't the worst thing I ever watched, which was nice. So yeah, why not? And plus also, you're hearing this in March. It's Women's History Month, so fuck it. Watch it this month sometime. That'd be nice. Then the next movie I watched is a rewatch for me. It was the Slumber Party Massacre remake from 2021. This movie is a remake of Slumber Party Massacre from the 80s. Dana, the only survivor of a massacre in 1993, is going on a little weekend trip with her friends after their car breaks down in the same little town where her mother once fought the driller killer. Dana and her friends must come face to face with the man who has haunted her mother's life for the past 30 years. Yeah, for me, this is a 4 and a heart. I want to own this movie so bad. Like, it's truly one of the best horror remakes out there, and I'm not even just saying that. Like, I just wholeheartedly believe it. Go listen to my episode on Slumber Party Massacre with Pickens, because we talk about how fabulous this movie is. A sci-fi TV movie, which technically this premiered on Sci-Fi in the US, even though I think it was made by like a studio, like a direct-to-video studio. It should not be this good, but it is. Like, it just, for a movie that came out and premiered on Sci-Fi, like, you would think, oh, it's going to be kind of shitty or like whatever the hell, but it was not at all. If you're a fan of the original Slumber Party Massacre movie or the series of movies, especially the first two, you need to pull up in this movie immediately if you haven't already done so. I do think it's worth any sort of hype, because this director, she understood the assignment. That's the thing, and I just love that. Then the next movie after this was a little movie I had heard of, and it's on Netflix. It's called They Cloned Tyrone. Now, this movie has John Boyega in it. It also has Jamie Foxx and Tiana Paris, or Perry. This is a series of eerie events thrust an unlikely trio onto the trail of a nefarious government conspiracy lurking directly beneath their neighborhood. Also, Kiefer Sutherland's here as well. And, this movie, David Alan Grier's in it as well. So he does come back. So Yo-Yo is played by Tiana Paris, and Yo-Yo being Nancy Drew through this whole movie just cracks me up personally. Because the thing about Yo-Yo is the lady in this, she has these Nancy Drew books, so like it's just funny that she kind of puts herself as Nancy Drew a little bit. It's very funny. But this movie is so fucking like out of this world in a way. Like, it is so like you don't really know what to expect with it, but like it is a little like sci-fi. It's a little like obviously a little horror. But I thought it was a really well done piece. Like, I gave it a 4 and a heart. I listened to Girl That's Scary did an episode on it, and they pulled up on it, and it was wonderful. This movie is just so like, I just thought it was very well done, especially for a Netflix movie, because you don't always know what you're going to get with those. So I think with this, like, it did a very good job at being a fucking weird ass movie, but like, I really liked it though. And of course the comparisons to something like Get Out could be a little something, but this is also a little different than Get Out, I think. I see how people could compare, but also I'm just like, not everything's gonna be Get Out, you know what I mean? Like, whatever. But yeah, so I'd pull up on They Clone Tyrone, go in blind, not knowing anything about it, and just kind of let yourself, bathe in it. It's just a really good little movie. It's a little long, maybe it didn't need to be as long as it was, but honestly, I didn't care. It was, this movie hooked me at some point, and I enjoyed myself. Then I watched, let me see. Okay, then the next thing I watched was actually His House from 2020 in Netflix. I was actually finishing this. So for His House, this is about this couple who is escaping South Sudan. They are struggling to adjust to their new life in the United Kingdom. And then there's like a bit of a haunting going on in this like, place that they're staying at. I mean, I personally really like this. I gave it a 4 and a little heart. His House is such a, I thought that this was just so, I thought it was fairly well done, again, for a Netflix thing, because, again, Netflix be, hitting sometimes and, missing sometimes. But I do think that this movie is just such a interesting ghost tale. It's such an interesting haunted house quote movie, I guess. But I really liked it. And yeah, if you want to hear more about it, I would definitely recommend checking out the Dead Meat podcast, who did kind of a 2-parter. They actually did like history that led up to, kind of the events of what happens in South Sudan with this movie. So they have a whole episode on that, but then they also have an episode on the actual movie. But I thought that was really interesting. It was really comprehensive, pretty well done actually, which is nice. But yeah, and check out any other person who maybe has done an episode, like a podcast on it. Because yeah, I liked it. I thought it was very well done, and it gave me the. Even though I feel like in a weird way, like it looked like the monster in this movie looked a little bit like the Midnight Man from Gerald's Game. But even with that, though, even besides that, like I thought like the actors are really good in it. Matt Smith is in it actually as well. But like I really enjoyed myself with it personally. So I'd give it a watch for sure if you're into that kind of thing as well. Then I did a triple feature on a Saturday. I watched Mayhem and Ready or Not. So Mayhem is from 2017. Ready or Not is from 2019. Mayhem is by Joe Lynch. This is about a virus that spreads through an office complex. And it has Stephen Yeun from Nope and Walking Dead, Samara Weaving from Ready or Not, and also like Scream 6. I've talked about this movie before, I think, but I actually did these for an upcoming podcast appearance that I made, where me and the host talk about these movies. I like both of these. I gave them both 4s and a heart. That's what Mayhem's about. Ready or Not is about Grace, played by Samara Weaving. A bride's wedding night takes a sinister turn when her eccentric new in-laws force her to take part in a terrifying game. This is done by some of the guys from Radio Silence, who did Scream 5 and 6. But yeah, I really enjoyed myself with this. So it was nice to revisit these movies anyway. But that's what I watched. But then also, because it came on Netflix, I did watch Thanksgiving from 2023 by Eli Roth. Now, I'm going to tell you right now, I'm not exactly the biggest Eli Roth girly. However, this movie, I think, was very well done, pretty much. I gave it a 3.5 and a little heart. This is about what happens is his Black Friday riot happens, and then some people die as part of that, at a local Right Mart, like a Walmart, and a year goes by, and then a killer is killing some of the people who were involved in that little riot in Plymouth, Massachusetts. It's always nice seeing Milo Manheim get work. I love that for him. And, Gina Gershon's there for a little bit, which is cool. And Patrick Dempsey is there trying to have a Boston accent. I'm no one to talk, but, and also I do not support Spyglass, with their bullshit they had with Scream 7 and just the treatment of Melissa Barrera, that they had, so blech. But I will say, at least I did like this movie. Like, I thought it was pretty decent for a horror movie. It did not suck like some of his other movies he's had, because I do not exactly love Cabin Fever. I don't exactly like Hostel that much. I kind of like Hostel too. Like, really because Heather Matarazzo's there and like, Lauren German's there, so like that's cool. But but I'm not the Green Inferno. I didn't really care about, to be honest with you. So like but Mr. Eli Roth, you did a good job with this. I will say that. So good for you. But yeah, that was Thanksgiving for me. But it was on Netflix, and so maybe I would own it. I probably, like, if I could pull up on it, I probably would pull up on it, to be honest. But yeah, so that's what I did. And then second to last movie I watched was Coraline from 2009, because I just did an episode on that. So yeah, this is Henry Selick. It's a stop motion movie. It's based off of a book by Neil Gaiman. Coraline moves into an old house, feels bored and neglected by her parents. She then finds a secret passage to the other world where she sees her other parents. And then, yeah, some crazy shit goes on, really. And I gave this a 4 and a little heart. I really like this movie. I think it is beautifully done. It is just beautifully shot, beautifully executed. The score is iconic. The voice acting is really good. Like, there's not really many notes for me. Like, to be honest, I thought this movie was just very well done, and I'm glad that I have now been exposed to it. I really enjoyed it. And then the final movie I watched was from 1999. It's because I'm going to be covering it soon. It's going to be my next episode, but I decided to watch Audition, or rewatch, I guess, Audition from 1999 by Takashi Miike. This is about a guy, Aoyama. He, a friend of his sets up an audition for him to find like a new, like, kind of lover, or like a girlfriend, I guess, to then become wife. He then catches the eye and he falls for Asami. And yeah, things are not what they seem in this movie. But yeah, this is on Kanopy. If you don't know about Kanopy, if you have a library card, you can pull up on Kanopy. I will say Baltimore Public Library, Baltimore County Public Library, has some good shit on there. So I must give them their props for that. But yeah, I was watching it on there. It was pretty cool. I have like The Living End on there, which is a Greg Araki movie. Petey Wheatstraw is another one that I have on there. And then I also have that movie, and then there was Ganja and Hess. That was another one I wanted to watch. So I didn't get around to it this month, but I do want to actually finish Ganja and Hess. So I will make sure to try to finish that for sure. But yeah, Audition was great. Audition's a fucking crazy ass movie. I don't think it needs to be almost 2 hours, to be honest with you, but like, you'll hear more about that in my episode of what my thoughts are on it. And yeah, y'all, that's all I watched in the month of February. So yeah, I also tried watching on Netflix. I tried watching the live action Avatar: The Last Airbender, and I have decided that I think I'm just gonna maybe watch the cartoon instead, to be honest. That's just me personally. But yeah, it is what it is. But and I want to try and watch other like TV stuff as well. I find myself watching way more movies than I do TV, but like, I do want to, I've said this before, but like, I do want to just like try to also watch TV shows as well. 'Cause it's just nice to, also have that to watch as well. 'Cause I feel like I just, I don't want to throw myself into watching a movie every day, because that can just be a little overwhelming and kind of burns you out at some point, especially if you don't have like a goal set in mind. But that's just, whatever. But yeah, this is also a fun little dive into just like, Black horror really was cool too. I was able to watch some stuff I hadn't seen yet, and so it kind of gave me a reason, and I was pleasantly surprised by quite a few of them, so I'm very happy with that. And also maybe this month coming up, with March, it's Women's History Month, like I said, so maybe I will do, I don't know if I'm going to do it every day, because that kind of burned me out after a while, but I definitely want to maybe check out some stuff that maybe I haven't seen from female directors, and try to get that as well with like female horror directors or any of that kind of stuff. This gives me a reason to like like rewatch like The Invitation and stuff like that, maybe. So that could be cool, but we'll see about all that. But again, and that's what I watched. So, if you want to let me know what you've watched over the month, or, if you watched any of the stuff I watched and you want to talk about it, please, feel free to, hit me up on social media, Cult Cinema Circle on Instagram, is the best way to get in contact with me. You can email me at cultcinemacircle@gmail.com, follow the show on Twitter, if you want to, Cult Cinema Circle, and also on Letterboxd. Follow me on Letterboxd at Jesse Kremp, all one word, or just look up Cult Cinema Circle. I'm sure you'll find it. But yeah, go see what I'm watching on there and all the stupid little things I do on there. But again, thank you all so much for taking the time to listen to the show. And can't wait to drop the next episode on Audition. And hope you have a good rest of your hope you have a good March. This year's moving along, and but thanks so much for listening, and catch you next month. Take care. Bye.